And welcome back. Well, there are over 15 million Americans caring for loved ones with Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, with the majority, 65%, being women. But there are ways that these caregivers can better understand the disease and find different ways to overcome the ongoing challenges. So joining me now are doctors Gustavo, Alva, and Betsy Broyles Arnold, daughter of the legendary football coach Frank Broyles. Thanks for being here, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I think the conversations surrounding Alzheimer's are getting more consistent and more educational. Is Alzheimer's a natural part of aging, or is this something very different than that?
It is not a natural part of aging. It is a medical problem that needs recognition and prompt attention. And that's why if it's suspected, seeking out one's own doctor would make great sense.
Why do we think this is growing so rapidly as a problem here in the U.S. in terms of dementias?
The life expectancy has grown, and we've managed to do a better job about addressing medical comorbidities. And considering the fact that the biggest risk factor for developing Alzheimer's disease is getting older, we see the reason why there's so many more people that are being affected and why we're going to be seeing such a staggering growth in the next few years.
You know, the statistic that I gave in the beginning, that the majority are women, those caregivers and things like that, are there ways that we can reduce stress for caregivers or understandings that might help people be a better caregiver?
Well, we learned that, in our experience, that, your attitude is your greatest asset. We always try to look at taking care of my mother as a privilege, which made it positive. So I think that has a lot to do with the stress that you're dealing with in this process. You have to educate yourself. You have to learn about the opponent. You educate yourself on this disease. There's simple things, for example, that we never even thought about. Home safety, for instance. You need to, use safety locks on your doors and tape your rugs down. And as the disease progresses, you want to roll up your rugs so they don't fall on them. We learn simple things like just a plate without a pattern on it that they eat off of makes a big difference. Baby gates are a big one, so your loved one doesn't fall down the stairs. And picking up newspapers. My mother fell one day because we left some newspapers on the ground. So picking up clutter are some important things that you can do, some tips to help reduce the stress.
Well, and Betsy, really what you're talking about is having a game plan, right? And using resources, finding educational
Absolutely.
Tools. You talked about a plate without a pattern. I know that probably rung in some people's ears. Why is that?
Well, if it has a pattern and they're trying to eat, it's confusing to them. They can't tell if it's the food or the pattern in the plate. It's confusing to them. So you want to just use a solid plate when you're feeding them.
When we talk about maintaining the connection to that loved one who's going through such a difficult thing, it's hard on both the person with the disease as well as the family. How do you keep that connection strong? Are there ways to do that?
Well, spending time with them is important. I think that I think that it is the most important thing is to spend time with them. You've got to educate your family and get everybody involved that you can. Your children, your brothers, your sisters. You've got to bring everybody in to help care for someone with this disease.
Absolutely. We're out of time. Is there one warning sign that we can think of or look to when we're looking at somebody with Alzheimer's?
Short-term memory problems and word-finding difficulties. If suspecting the illness, seeking out your doctor makes sense. There's combination treatments that can help. Obviously, there's side effects associated with everything, so it's important to get good medical advice from one's own doctor.
Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
And for more information, visit the website caregiveractionnetwork.org.